Good afternoon, class. In today's lesson, we will be looking at the reliability of Pliny's letters to Tacitus. Please take notes as this will be the focus of next lesson. Lesson Overview. In this lesson, we will question some issues that may impact on the reliability of Pliny's account and question if all the sources support the eruption having taken place on the 24th of August. Omissions in Pliny's letters. Although Pliny provides two geographical viewpoints from Misenum and Stabae, unfortunately he says nothing of the overwhelming of Pompeii and Herculaneum. Pliny does not mention the year which the eruptions occur, and he does not make mention of the tremendous detonation that must have preceded the eruption. Many eyewitnesses of other eruptions throughout the centuries describe the terrifying detonation, so why did Pliny fail to mention it? Other factors to consider. The description of his uncle's experiences, behaviour, and death was second-hand. Pliny did not go with his uncle on the rescue mission, and is relying on the reports of those who had survived. There is not evidence that the events were documented until AD 103 to 107, about 25 years after the event. It is likely that Pliny may have forgotten much of what he heard and experienced as a young man, especially the sequence of events. It is obvious from the content of the first letter that Pliny and Tacitus were concerned more with celebrating Pliny the Elder's bravery, and in the carefully composed letters, both uncle and nephew lose nothing in the telling. Debates over the date of the eruption. The date the eruption which consumed Pompeii and Herculaneum is normally given as 24th of August, as this is the date that appears in the standard classical text of Pliny the Youngest letters. However, there are other classical sources and archaeological evidence which suggest that this date may be incorrect. Classical sources. Interestingly, the date in Pliny's letters does not agree with the only other detailed account of the eruption, Dio Cassius, in his histories written in roughly 200 AD. Cassius recorded that the eruption happened in late autumn. Although Pliny was an eyewitness, but writing 2 decades after the event, the archaeological evidence tends to favour Cassius Dio's timing for the eruption. Archaeological evidence. Food. In 1797, Carlo Maria Rosini argued that the traces of fruits harvested in autumn, such as pomegranates, chestnuts, dry figs, raisins, grapes, pine cones, and dates found at both Herculaneum and Pompeii, meant that the eruption could not have happened in late August. Later archaeologists concurred with Rosini and Cassius Dio, noting evidence that the grape harvest had already taken place. Not only were grapes present, but also the waste products from pressing and sealed large underground amphorae, indicating that new wine had recently been produced and stored. According to Pliny the Elder, the grape harvest happened between 24th of September and the 11th of October. Other fruits normally harvested in September and October have also been found, such as wheat, figs, walnuts, carobs, and olives. Other archaeological evidence. 2 coins of Emperor Titus were found with a group of victims excavated in the House of Golden Bracelet. Titus became emperor on 24th of June 79 AD, and based on the emperor's titles, it has been argued that one of the coins must postdate September 79 AD. However, Richard Abdy points out that the coin is in very poor condition, and the inscription has subsequently been misread. It would be unusual, but not impossible, for coins of Emperor Titus to be circulating in Pompeii by the 24th of August. It does, however, suggest a later date. A study on the modern seasonal high-altitude wind directions over southern Italy suggests a later timing too. From June to August, winds are generally going to the west. In autumn and winter, they tend to blow to the northeast and southeast. The ash dispersal pattern, a little ash in Herculaneum, to the north along with a great deal in Pompeii and Stabae, to the south of Vesuvius, indicates that the wind was blowing southeast on the day of the eruption. Historical inaccuracies. Pliny may not have gotten it wrong. The letter was written around 100 AD and later became part of 9 books of letters published by Pliny before he died in 113 AD. A 10th book of his letters to Trajan was published after his death. Publishing at this time meant copying out by hand. The preservation of letters required new copies to be made as the paper decayed. Letters continued to be copied over the centuries, but making it likely that errors occurred. Especially when the monks doing the transcribing were not interested in the content, didn't understand what they were copying, the Roman dating system is not straightforward, or if the manuscript they were working from itself was badly damaged. It is therefore entirely possible that a scribal error can explain the conflicting dates between Pliny and Cassius Dio. Lesson summary. How reliable are Pliny's letters? Pliny's letters have questionable omissions such as not mentioning Pompeii and Herculaneum, not mentioning the year which the eruption occurred, and not mentioning the tremendous detonation that must have preceded the eruption. Other factors to consider include that the descriptions of Pliny's uncle's experiences were second-hand. Pliny did not document the event until roughly 25 years after the event, and the letters may be biased, as Pliny and Tacitus appear to be more concerned with celebrating Pliny the Elder's bravery. There is evidence that the date of the eruption written in Pliny's letters may be wrong, as it does not match with the only other account of the eruption by Dio Cassius, and there has been food found that suggests that the eruption occurred later. Other evidence includes coins found that have suggested a later date, and studies on the modern seasonal high-altitude wind directions over southern Italy, which suggest a later time. A scribal error may explain the conflicting dates between Pliny and Cassius Dio. In class, we will be looking at the reasons for and against the usefulness of Pliny's letters. We will also be focusing on the destruction of the towns and the causes of death of their inhabitants. Thank you.